We also, this is short notice. Hang on, we got another person coming in. To do this, we know the district just literally a couple hours ago put out this announcement, and we've been eager to hear who's our new principal. And so we've got another couple folks coming in. I'm going to let them get settled. So we're going to be doing another Zoom meet and greet, meet our new principal on Tuesday evening, July 7th at 7 p.m. And again, for those just joining us, I'm Amy Lewin. I'm the Cleveland High School PTA president. I'm really happy to have many of you joining us this evening to welcome our new principal, JoAnn Wadkins. We're at 7:04, and for those who are still coming in the waiting room, I will admit them. But for now, again, thank you for all those joining the call. If you have a key question for JoAnn while she's talking and sharing a little bit about herself, please feel free to put that in the chat function. And again, we will be doing a broader outreach to the community for a meet and greet on Tuesday evening, July 7th at 7 p.m. Janet, who's on the phone with us this evening, I know just put out a Cleveland High School e-news. And for those who are more adept to Zoom, you'll notice that we're recording this, or we will be recording this, and JJ, our PTA secretary, will be posting an excerpt online for those who weren't able to join us on such short notice this evening. But for now, I would like to just say thank you, JoAnn, for making time right out of the bat to say hello to the Cleveland High School community and welcome in.
Thank you so much, and thank you guys for making the time. I can't express enough how excited I am to be joining the Cleveland community as the principal. As I indicated in my community interview, and I do recognize Melissa again, I live in this community and have, lived here for 15 years. I live in Ladd's Addition. And I was just talking to Paul Cook earlier today as we're planning transition. I said, you know, I've been trying for years to get to Cleveland. I told him, I said, and I said, it took me becoming an administrator to get over here. I taught, my background is really well rooted in IB. I taught IB physics for 15 years. And I'm also a member of what's called the IB Educator Network. So I've been trained by the IB to give workshops and to do site visits of new schools becoming IB World Schools. So at least that particular program I'm really very familiar with. I have had a chance to meet and work a little bit with the two VPs that are there. And, you know, one of my priorities will be to move our equity work forward and to really make sure that we are having curriculum and activities and a school where all children are welcome and that we are hearing diverse voices. And so I'm really excited to really get moving on equity PD for our staff, really listening to our students of color and making space for them as we open this new school year. Some of the things that I'll be doing as we get going is I will be reaching out and for staff in particular, even though they're off, to invite them to meet me, but I'm really interested in meeting students and of course meeting more parents to hear what your priorities are, what your needs are, and how we can move together strongly as a strong Cleveland community.
JoAnn, thank you. For those just joining us, I just want to introduce myself briefly. I'm Amy Lewin. I'm the Cleveland High School PTA president. And just to note, we're recording this because we want to share it with our community after this evening. JoAnn, I'd love to hear, it's great to hear you know the community well. Tell us a little bit more about your experience and kind of the journey to get here as it comes to becoming an administrator. And I'd love to hear a little more of your hopes and dreams as a principal.
Yeah. Well, I have been a teacher leader in this district. This is my 17th year in PPS. In fact, there are some teaching staff at Cleveland that I've worked with as they were starting their careers and what they're teaching now. And the next step I took is to become the IB coordinator. And that really allowed me more opportunity to dig into the curriculum, dig into pedagogy, work with staff, and become really trying to see how the IB mission can be made live in a comprehensive high school. And from my work there, I just felt like the natural step was for me to become an administrator, because I had been involved with many initiatives around the school and was ready to take that next step. So I've done work on state accreditation, rebuilds of high schools, and building master schedules, coaching teachers, just a whole, working with student leaders and activities. And I'm really excited to take this next step.
Thank you. Is there anyone here who has any just short questions for JoAnn or things to think about? And granted, you'll see in the chat function on July 7th, we'll be doing a little bit more of a longer meet and greet for those who couldn't make it this evening. Well, I know IB is important to the Cleveland community, but I also know the Cleveland community is really eager to have a principal willing to engage like this and just be a part of the community in so many ways. And we're excited to have you. And clearly, you're already a part. You're in the neighborhood.
That's right. So I now I'm going to have the sweetest commute. I'm already planning my route, the different routes I'm going to take. To go by Little T Baker, go visit my friends after a hard day's work. So.
That's awesome. Those are the kind of commutes they're priceless in so many ways.
I know my neighbor who's across the alley here, he saw me he sees me frequently, but he saw me at a basketball game in Cleveland a couple of years ago when I first became an administrator. And he said to me, he goes, "What are you doing over here?" And I said, "Well, this is part of the work that we do." But one thing, when I say part of the work that we do, I just feel it's very important to be present for students and for families. And so I personally went to all the girls' basketball games. And oftentimes, young women in sports don't necessarily get the same attention. But I think it's important that the whole admin team, that we're present for all the activities for the students, and that they know that we cherish the work that they're doing. And then I want to hear more about what students want to make happen at Cleveland. And it was, I don't know if Jan remembers, but it was my neighbor Brad that introduced me to Jan at one of the basketball games here just this last season. And she commented on the fact that I was wearing, yes, my Lincoln lanyard, and said, "Oh, you're from Lincoln." I said, "Well, Jan, what you have to remember really is that I'm Brad's neighbor." So I'm really excited to be able to attend activities. We don't know exactly what those are going to look like in the fall. There's still, our committees district-wide are just gearing up. Some of the work that's going to happen in PPS during July is really planning what the reopening of school is going to look like.
And JoAnn, I want you to know you treated Kim Bliss, an absolutely phenomenal former student of mine who is now at Lincoln, extremely well. So you got my vote.
Oh, thank you, Jan. Yeah, he is wonderful. He's
a
wonderful.
great guy. Yeah. Great guy.
JoAnn, you had mentioned to me that, vacation's a good thing to take, but you also kind of have an idea of what your summer looks like as we transition. And I know we'll be making time on July 7th to do another meet and greet and a little longer one. But for those of us who are thinking about, the summer months and when we know and what we'll know, do you have any kind of sense of what timeline looks like for the Cleveland community here for the next 3 months? And you don't have to know. I'm just wondering if you have a sense of any basic detail.
I have to say though, I am having a little trouble hearing you, Amy. So it's a little. So I'm not quite sure if I got the whole.
Sorry.
I'm not sure if I got the whole question. I don't know if you mean timeline for what it's going to look like for the opening of school.
Yeah, or just you as a principal coming into school and all of that too.
This coming week, I'm actually taking off to make some transition to move out of Lincoln and move into Cleveland. And then I will be out on vacation one more week at the very end of July, the last week of July. We do, so really the bulk of July, I'm going to be at Cleveland. We do have some hiring that we need to do. And certainly I need to spend a lot of time meeting with different community members. And again, very importantly for me to meet students and student groups so we can best prepare for the start of our school year. I also am on one of the district-wide committees about planning for the reopening in the fall. So there'll be some of the work that'll be happening there as well.
No little task. I see Sana put, I hope I pronounced your name correctly, a question on any thoughts on how you might welcome the rising freshmen considering COVID restrictions and find a way to mesh them into the Cleveland community. And I just want to note, this is something the PTA has talked about, and I actually have been in contact with the Hosford Middle School PTA a little bit about this. There's definitely some interest for the PTA to support that. But JoAnn, if you just out of the gate have any thoughts, would love to hear them here.
Okay. So I think it's very important for the incoming freshman class to be able to already build a sense of community at Cleveland, which that would certainly be very difficult if we're in an entire, remote learning. So I'm going to be an advocate of really setting aside special time for freshmen to be in the building with their teachers. And I think that's some of the planning that will also happen like at the district level. But I can certainly envision that we might just take, there might be a week where we're bringing in different groups of freshmen and their teachers and just building community with them so they can have that connection with their teachers and start to feel like, yes, they're part of the greater, community and the new school, and we're excited that they're here and going to start their 4-year journey. They need to meet upperclassmen. They need to really feel like they're going to be a part of Cleveland. I feel that just overall for the fall, that probably there's a lot of momentum for having some kind of hybrid model in general for all of our students, starting freshmen, through 12th grade. So certainly, as a science teacher, I think about the experiences of students being able to do lab work. And for those of you, if you don't want to have your students doing crazy things in your kitchen for chemistry, but you could just imagine trying to do something where it's like, okay, half of this chemistry class is coming in to do a lab, and then the next day the other half comes so they can have access to the equipment in a safe way with their teacher. And other activity classes, and want to try to figure out a way that, yes, they would be able to have access to the equipment and be able to do those activities with their teacher. So I think that's really kind of a hybrid model that I know that I've been talking to some other administrators about as we're moving forward.
Thank you. I'm going to pause and see if we've got Jesse logging in now and a couple others that I think are still trying to log in. So I'm going to pause here and see if anyone here has any questions they'd like to ask JoAnn. Well, if not, we can just call it a night too, and I will follow up with this
Well, it is
number.
a very beautiful evening out there, so.
I know. I realize you might not, there's a bird that sits over here that's very loud, and sorry if the bird was chiming in.
Yeah.
I like the response, thank you. It's great to just get everyone together on a summer evening like this and welcome you, JoAnn, to the Cleveland community. And I can't thank you enough for being willing, literally hours after the district announces, to come in and just say hello. So thank you for making time to do that. We look forward to working with you. I know you had mentioned to me, and Paul has mentioned to me, that you guys will be working together next week as Paul transitions. We've got Paul, I think, for what, 2-3 more days? That having you, we're here, and we're here to support your effort and transition in. So just please know that, and reach out to any and all of us, and I'm happy to facilitate to connect, and I know others here are as well.
Well, I know it was a short notice for all of you to also be here. And I think it just already shows just the great commitment that you have, not only to your own child at Cleveland, but to the Cleveland community. And that's really important. And I really value the time that adults can give for all of our students. And I really look forward to working with each and every one of you in a nice, wonderful, collaborative way. I can't, again, express how excited I am to be able to finally make it to Cleveland and be not only that, but be the principal of Cleveland High School.
Hey, Amy, before we get off, I want to remind you that I really appreciated what you said about reaching out to freshmen families that are coming in. And I just want to remind you very, I don't know how to put this. I cannot emphasize enough that we have a ton of 8th graders that come from places other than Hosford and Selwood. And one of the groups that comes to Cleveland is Lane. And we always have a special 3-hour session for them at Cleveland, and they got aced out of that this year. And that makes a huge difference when they're coming in because of their travel time. It's very, very lengthy by bus. So please don't overlook them. And then if you are really ambitious, it would be awesome to get a master list of all of the incoming 8th graders from out of the PPS and invite them in too. You'd be surprised how many of those there are. So thanks again.
JoAnn, thank you. Those are critical details, and certainly we rely on your expertise to navigate how best to do these things. So I really appreciate you sharing that with everyone. And I will say that though there is intention from some of the families I know moving in, there's people here I don't know who may have connections. And so I will put the Cleveland PTA president email in the chat so that you have it. I encourage you to reach out. We're building a board that's strong and has a lot of energy, but there's also some specific projects like welcoming our incoming 9th graders that could use some leadership. And it's not just me, there's a team of us doing this work. So if you're feeling called to work on that, let me facilitate giving you that space to lead us into that. If there aren't any more questions, I think I am just going to say thank you all for making time. And again, welcome, JoAnn.
Thank you.
And we'll be in touch.
All right, thank you. I look forward to working with you for many years to come.
Thank you. We should all wave. For those on the call tonight, we did record this and we will share it out with the community. And again, hold July 7th, that's Tuesday evening, July 7th at 7 p.m. at 7/7/2020 for another longer meet and greet with the community then. So thank you, JoAnn, for making time.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you. Good to see you all.